Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Hashtag Now Smoking. I am your host, Gary Korb, Executive Editor for CigarAdvisor.com. And today I'm going to be reviewing one of my all-time favorites. It is the Laranja Reserva Caixa from Espinosa Cigars. Fantastic cigar. And I am joined by National Sales Director for Espinosa Cigars, Jack Toraño. So Jack, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Gary. Nice. Thanks for having me. I'm a pinch hitter, a late in the game pinch hitter for Erik, who's feeling a little under the weather.
That's fine. I hope he shows up because we love Erik and hope he's okay. But anyway, I picked the Laranja Caixa for today. It is I love this cigar, and I recommend it all the time. It's made in a number of sizes, and I kind of like this one, this 6x48 box press. They also make one, I think, exclusively for famous smoke shop, right? It's the Volta.
Yes.
Which is a 6x48, but it is round as a Parejo, but it's not box press, but equally good. Anyway, it's a medium full in strength, I guess you could say. It has a Brazilian Laranja wrapper. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And the binder and filler are Nicaraguan, which is usually the case with most of Erik's cigars. And Jackie, what I wanted to ask was, I know that Erik made up the name, Brazilian Laranja, right? And it's called Laranja because it has kind of an orange tint to it. Orange means Laranja in Portuguese.
Portuguese, correct.
Yes. So I think, yeah. So did you know what the seed is, though? I mean, is it like a Corojo?
It's a Habano.
Marafina?
It's a Brazilian Habano.
It's Brazilian Habano. Okay. All right. Because I always wanted to know that. So anyway, so in Caixa, it's probably pronounced Caixa in Portuguese.
Erik pronounces it Caixa.
Caixa? Okay, yeah.
Caixa. I've heard many different things.
I used to work in the Portuguese ironbound section of Newark, and I used to
Did you
get
really?
Portuguese all the time. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Actually, there was oh my God, I can't remember the name of it, but there was a great bakery down the street, and oh my God, fresh baked goods. The Portuguese make the great bread and everything, So anyhow, this is a really cool cigar, and a couple of cool things have happened to it too. In 2015, not this cigar, but the Toro got a 94 rating in Cigar Aficionado. That's a classic rating, and it made the number 13 slot on that top 25 cigars of the year in that year. So this is a really, really nice blend, and a lot of people I recommend it to usually agree. Hey, thanks for recommending that. So. I guess we'll get started here. I've been checking it out. It's not a sharp box press. It's a little rounded, which is nice. Has it's really comfortable. I kind of like that. The 48 ring, just a little bit more narrow, but feels really good. And it's got a beautiful, looks like a triple seam cap. It has no soft spots. It has a nice little orange band at the bottom. We'll take that off. And now, Jack, you've already gotten started on yours, right?
I did. I didn't know this was
okay.
a whole. I would have waited, but
that's okay. No, you don't have to. It's good because we want to get kind of a idea of what the cigar tastes like at different points. So it's good that you're a little bit ahead. So, oh wow, the cold draw is really. First of all, the draw is perfect. It's hard to describe what I'm getting. It's kind of, I want to say like herbal, but a little salty. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of refreshing, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but let's light her up. I got to be careful with this lighter because it's a quadruple flame. And I don't like to scorch the wrapper. It really is a beautiful wrapper. Do you know how long these wrappers are aged or anything? Can you tell us a little bit more about the cigar itself?
I can tell you that we are having a little bit of trouble procuring more of this wrapper. So we are we're struggling with it a little bit right now because of that aging process. It takes a little bit longer to age, and with COVID and all the things going on right now, it's been very difficult to get some of that wrapper out of Brazil. So
really, oh wow, yeah, they're having big problems too, aren't they?
And Caixa, we actually searched this office and the humidor high and low to find the last Caixa that was sitting here so that I could smoke it on this show.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
So
I
we
really,
are currently out of stock on this size.
all right. Well, I'm glad they sent me 2 of these, so I will have to nurse the other one. But anyway, this cigar, it's an MSRP of about $11.50.
Yeah.
But at famous-smoke.com, they are available as at the time I recorded this. You can get a 5-pack for $51.99, and a box goes for about $207.99. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And a box of 20 too. So, and you know, what I wanted to say was that when I was doing my research, you know, I went to, you know, the Espinosa website, and I said, oh my God, I forgot he does so many cigars. I mean, you guys like are amazing. Let's talk about the 601 line first. 601's been really, really successful, and I know that you guys make several of them for Famous exclusively too.
Yeah.
You know, can you give us some of the history of the line, Jack? You know,
well,
where it's going?
601 is basically what got Erik into the industry. You know, that line of cigars into having his own brand. Like, it was distributed by Rocky back in the day.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because it never said Espinosa on it. So when he started Espinosa Cigars, I still travel the country now, and I'll have people that tell me, yeah, I've never heard of Espinosa. And I'm like, well, have you heard of, you know, our Laranja or Murcielago or how about the 601 line? 601 is Espinosa? You know, so
yeah.
So I think we've done a little correcting in the last couple of years that Espinosa the name is on the 601 now, but there's been some variations to the bands. The blends have been pretty true as you can keep a cigar that's been out for 12 years, you know?
Yeah, that's a long time.
You know, the 601 Blue Maduro, the Oscuro, the green, the red.
La Bomba.
It's a great line. The La Bomba is a cigar that I can't smoke. It's just a little too strong. The yearly, the Warhead series that we come out with every year. And then the exclusives that we have, you know, with you guys and a few others. 601's been a real popular line for us. So.
Well, I know that they sell like crazy, and I remember when they first came out, they were made by another factory, I believe. But those were very, very good too. And you know, what I'm tasting so far with this Caixa, I guess you pronounce it, it's kind of woody. It's very creamy. Little sweet, you know, it's kind of like got a nice balance of flavors going on there. You know, it's nice and tasty. Oh, I got a little pepper got up there into my nose. So,
yeah, to me, it's got a little light nuttiness to it. Sits more along the medium. I mean, sometimes it'll cross over medium a little bit, but I'm not a full-bodied cigar smoker, and I fell in love. I mean, I've been with Erik since January of last year, so I've been with him about a year and a half, and but I've always been a big fan of Espinosa Cigars. As a matter of fact, we were looking at some pictures from 2017 when me and my wife were in Spain, and my wife says, look at that picture of you. You're smoking a Laranja in 2017. I said, yeah, it was that year. It was 2015 was when it made number 13 in Cigar Aficionado. And
I know.
For me, it should have been number 1. It was my favorite cigar of the year. I absolutely loved that cigar. So.
And the reason I like it is because it's also consistent. They've really been consistent. Everyone has been good. You know, they just, I guess, is it because it's a limited run? Is that what it is? You only have so much of the wrapper? Or?
You know, it's not that it's limited. I mean, when we can acquire the wrapper, we can acquire the wrapper. It's just this has been a very difficult year for acquiring certain tobaccos, and this is really the first year since it came out in 2015 that we've had these issues with this wrapper, and it's a very unique looking wrapper.
It does have a little orangey tint to it, I guess.
So it's not like you gotta wait. You know, Erik doesn't like to substitute anything. So
yeah, no, I don't blame him.
Credit to him. I would, you know, stay true to the blend, and he stays true to the blend. And you know, we could go out and start shopping around and trying to find something to mimic it, but we're not going to do that. You know, we'll wait. So
Mm. Well, it does taste really good. It's really smooth. What are you getting from yours at this point? How far down are you? I can't really see.
I'm about an inch and a half in.
Oh, okay. So
Inch and a half.
you're willing to act one there.
Yeah. I just, to me, I don't get all those nuances that a lot of people get, and the nuttiness and I just know a cigar that I love, and I absolutely have always loved this cigar. It's always been my go-to cigar when I didn't work with Erik. But again, like I told you, I can taste that little light nuttiness to it,
Mm-hmm.
and a certain shots of pepper that you get every once in a while on the retro
Yeah.
hail, especially. You can taste it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm not a full-bodied smoker, so
I'm
I
not
think,
really either.
yeah, it to me it sits right on that perfect spectrum that I like. Just
Yeah,
maybe a hair above medium.
I agree with you. Most of the cigars that I really enjoy the most are like the medium full. They're not
Yeah,
like these full blown. A lot of 601s I can't smoke either.
yeah,
I just want to. I kind of like to know what I'm getting into. Wow, look at that smoke there. See
yeah,
that? So
mm,
it has a really great output of smoke. The ash is really good so far. Where is the camera? There it is.
yeah.
Um, you can see
Very
it's
nice
really
burn
coming
line.
nice and firm. Let me
Yeah.
ask you. Let's do a little like what I call the lightning round here. But first, there are always people that never heard of Espinosa, or if they did, maybe they don't know all the brands you do. There's one cigar you guys did, Seis Provences or Six Provinces.
Se Provincia, Six Providences in English, is a tribute to the original six providences of Cuba. So it was a 6-year project. It's the brainchild of Erik Jr. and Erik Jr.
Oh,
creates
really?
he creates these very unique boxes. So the concept was a very nice high-end cigar, very high-end tobacco in these really special 500 dress boxes, and
Mm.
then it's followed up with about 1,000 10-count boxes. And then once they're gone, we're moving on to the next year. So we started with Habano, the Havana
Mhm.
one, 601,
Okay.
the Se Provincia Havana. And
Right.
then last year it was the province of Matanzas. And then this year we're headed toward Las Villas, which is a province that was famous for a lot of its beaches and a lot of different things. So we're working on that, but COVID has thrown a monkey wrench into everything, and with no trade show this year. And that's really a cigar that we had a meeting a couple weeks ago with the uniqueness of each box. The boxes are, last year, for example, we did, I don't know if there's one around here. So we did 500 dress boxes, these beautiful plantation shutters. I mean, the boxes were beautiful. And
Yeah.
each one of them, the 500, had a different top painted by Edín Gutiérrez, this famous Cuban artist. He did
Wow.
500 different tops for
Oh
this.
my God.
So it's really a cigar that needs to be debuted in a setting like the trade show. So
Yes.
we've decided to push it back. It looks like TPE will happen. So we've
Okay.
decided to push this year's release to the next trade show, which should be TPE.
Well, I hope you do, because I think it's fascinating. So every year there's another province.
Every year there's another providence,
Wow.
and Junior works day in and day out all year long. The moment he's finished with one, he's already thinking of the next one. He's thinking 4 or 5 moves ahead. So I mean,
Really?
he's
Tell me a
very
little. Yeah.
Junior's 27 years old, but he's in the body of not the body, but he's got the mind of a 50-year-old graphic designer that's been around a while. He's got a lot of really cool ideas, and between him and Anthony, our graphic designer,
Hmm.
they kind of put Junior's thoughts to a diagram into paper, and it's really unique. The original had these beautiful swing boxes.
Yeah.
The cigar sat in, and then the plantation shutters, and I don't know if he's even talked about it, so I don't want to talk about what he's coming out with
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
for Las Villas, but I'm telling you that seeing it's spectacular.
So
So
is that his main job there? Is he mostly in the production end, or is he doing any
Junior wears a
blending?
ton of hats here. He wears if there's an issue here, you go to Junior from
Okay.
operations to shipping to marketing to he helps out in sales if he has to. But Junior's our go-to guy. He has a lot of he definitely wears a lot of hats here.
Oh, that's great. You know, so let's go through a couple of other ones. Here's another one that when it first came out, I wasn't crazy about it. They redid it. I loved it. And you did it again, and it was okay. It's the Murcielago.
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 Yeah.
That first one was, you know, when it came out, I was still, you know, I mean,
The red band.
to be fair, I think it came out. Yeah, I think it did have a red band, but it was a little too strong, a little too peppery for me. But then I think that you guys redid it, and I think it also had a red band.
Yeah.
That blend was terrific. And then you took it to another level.
We took it to another cigar that never said Espinosa on it. So we've done some tweaking on that, and now it's got the black and the silver band.
Right.
And it's a strong cigar. It's got some bite to it.
Yeah, but I really
After a
love
good
that.
dinner, I can have one.
That second iteration I thought was really good. Let's talk about reggae and reggae dread.
Reggae and dread. You know, Eric's always loved Jamaican tobacco. You know, one of his favorite cigars were one of the original Macanudos back in the day, and he's been able to acquire some of it. So he always wanted to do something with Jamaican tobacco. So it was always limited nature. I mean, they had some when I started last year, but they're basically all gone now. But reggae and dread were an interesting. The dread had the dreadlocks on the top.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, it has like dreadlocks. They took the you know, like if you look at the bombo, what is it? It has a fuse on it. It's like they took those fuses and put them on there. That's very cool.
Dreadlocks. So
yeah. So those are now is one of them infused or not?
Neither one.
They're not. I don't know why I thought one of them was infused. Okay, so that's my mistake. And then we have one called Alpha Dog.
The Alpha Dog. So the Alpha Dog started as it was going to be our event only cigar, but we kept getting so many calls, and Erik kept getting so many calls about it that one day he just came in and said, you know, like, sell it to everybody.
Yeah,
you know?
That happens all the time.
Yeah, screw it, sell it to everybody. And so now we're working on getting another event cigar. We're working on doing the whole thing again, where he will eventually say, sell it to everybody. But we're working on a new event only cigar.
It's like the Perdomo Factory Tour cigar. You know, now you can buy that too. You know? Who else had a cigar like that? I don't know. But you know, but look at this beautiful ash on here.
Yeah.
Look at that. And
it's burning really nice.
Test it. It's pretty darn firm. I'm almost afraid to leave it hanging any longer, but we'll see. I'll see if I can have my luck. Also, what do you recommend pairing with the? Are you whiskey guy?
You know, I'm not a whiskey or bourbon guy, but when I do lately, and I went in. I happened to be in Atlanta earlier in the year before all the craziness started, and I came across a whiskey called Uncle Nearest. Huh. And Uncle Nearest was the guy that sort of taught Jack Daniels the game. And his family has taken on and put out these. And I came upon a shop that had a presentation. The guy doing the rep for Uncle Nearest was doing this entire tasting and presentation. And I hung out there and, you know, fell in love with the brand and actually was blown away by how great the guy was that did the presentation.
Wow,
and
that'll help.
So I came home, bought 3 bottles of it, and that's my go-to stuff. I'm more of a beer guy, and I'm more of a Stella guy. I really, you know, I love a cigar with a coffee, and
me too. And
I can have cigar with Diet Coke. So
I have iced coffee today because it's 90 degrees out today.
Soda is actually a pretty good pairing for cigars.
Really? So, I don't know. I don't drink soda much anymore. I don't.
But it's got that sugary that characteristics that pairs well with cigars.
Oh, okay. But I have some Dovetail. Remember this?
Yes.
My friend Jonathan. And I thought this would pair pretty good with it. So in a little, once I get to a little further down, I'm going to try pairing it with that.
Well, I got Erik's office right behind me. He's got bottles of Pappy in there that I can just go. But then I might be looking for a job tomorrow.
No, don't do that. But there are a couple of others I wanted to get into. There was a cigar that you guys made for General Cigar. You're very familiar with that company. Yeah, Warzone. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it was kind of funny. We I was, before I came to work for Erik, I was working for General.
Mm-hmm.
So I was with General for about 2.5 years, and that last 6 months, they kind of brought a project to Justin Andrews. I know, are you familiar with who Justin Andrews is? He does diesel, and he's a senior brand manager over there. Kid in his early 30s, really sharp, really in tune with the cigar industry. He understands this category better than anybody over, not only at General, in a lot of places. Well, I had the luck that eventually Justin was not only in charge of diesel, he was in charge of the Toraño brand. And so I worked closely with him a lot, and they gave him a kind of a project to seek out boutique companies that they could do collaborations with. Right. And at the time, me and him had talked about it, and listen, I'm with General. I had no idea that I'd be with Espinosa, but one of the ones I pitched to him was Espinosa. I've always been a big fan of Erik, and always had a great relationship with Erik. Mm-hmm. So, Espinosa was in the mix to be one of the brands that they collaborated with. And the moment everything happened at the end of 2018, and I end up right away at Espinosa, Justin was like, we need to move Espinosa to the top of the list now. And what do we need to do? So I put him in contact with Erik and Hector, and they just took the ball and ran with it. And 8 months later, we had this amazing cigar that just scored a 93 in Cigar Aficionado.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That cigar is eligible for this year's top 25. So
hopefully it'll make it. It has a Cameroon wrapper on it, doesn't it?
Cameroon wrapper, first time. That's
pretty rare.
Cameroon. Yeah, and I know that Cameroon had a little bit of a resurgence at the trade show last year. There were, a lot of blends started coming. It seems there's always, whether it's, San Andres or Connecticut, or it seemed like Cameroon was the taste of last year. A lot of manufacturers were putting out some really good Cameroons. Skips Baca. I think Africa. Miami Cigar put out Africa
AJ had had one too.
Yeah, the AJ New World Cameroon.
I like that a lot.
Phenomenal cigar.
Yeah.
So we were in good company, and listen, the Cigar Aficionado just released it in the issue with the 93, and it's like a Cuban Cohiba has a 94, an Opus X very limited, a 93, along with Warzone 93. So we're in a really nice neighborhood in that magazine. Yeah. We're in a high-end neighborhood.
It's funny, we make fun of that magazine, at Cigar Advisor all the time, but people do take those ratings seriously. Even I fall for them.
Yeah,
I do.
Well, I mean, listen, I really have to like the person that they're doing a story on to actually read the story, but I go right to the ratings, and I always look at all the ratings, and
I know,
and definitely want to try the cigars that they rate highly.
So, yeah, I do too. Let's talk a little bit about the La Zona factory. Tell about the people who work there, who runs production, maybe.
So Carlito runs production down there. We got Erik's cousin from Cuba working down there now. Mm-hmm. And it's a small operation, maybe 20 pairs. And they do an incredible job. The cigars coming out of there, I mean, just look at the ratings. Once again, look at the ratings over the year. I mean, we in the last 5 years, we have 3 top 15 ratings in year-end Cigar Aficionado, including this year. We got number 11 with Habano, right, and number 15 with 601 Red. Back in the day, 601 Blue got a number 6. So
I used to love that one, the blue and the green. That one I was really
the green Oscuro. So yeah, a lot of high-rated cigars are coming out of that factory now. Now we've made a little bit of a move in terms of we've kind of It's not that we outgrew production, but we wanted to be able to have access to some of the best tobacco in the world. And who has the best tobacco in the world? AJ.
Really?
So AJ opened his factory in Ocotal a couple years ago, and you know, him and Erik have been very close for years. And he said, why don't you let me handle the 601 brand out of Ocotel?
Yeah.
And, you know, there's, you know, one of those is broadleaf. There's tobaccos there that are difficult to get at times, but not for AJ.
Yeah.
So it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. So we've paired with AJ on some other projects, the Se Provincia, the new Murciélagos made by AJ. But yeah, our core lines are still at La Zona, but anything not made at La Zona is made by AJ. So.
Oh, that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to also ask you about you know, Erik's kind of, this is what I wanted to ask Erik this, because he's kind of known for making some kind of like, you know, novelty type cigars, like the finger trap he did for Moya Ruiz and, you know, the wasabi. You know.
Well, wasabi's for us, and wasabi, it was funny. Wasabi was, you know, we did 100 boxes of it just to see what it would go, and it took off. I mean,
yeah, I did a story about Erik and wasabi.
I'm not a candela guy, but it's got that Habano tip to it that kind of softens out that to me it's a rough taste. That I'm not a big fan of candela, but that Habano tip really smooths it out for me.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Not that I smoke it a lot, but on St. Patrick's Day I do smoke it.
Okay. Now you seem to strike gold with protocol in a lot of ways. So how do you account for their success? I mean, they have a limited market, right?
Social media.
Social media.
I don't think there's anybody that works social media better than Juan Cancel. I mean, Juan is phenomenal at what he does, and I mean, I know they didn't have the huge budget to go out and do advertising and marketing, but Juan works social media tirelessly, and he's done a phenomenal job. The cigars of, you know, a lot of the cigar media and the bloggers, and they absolutely love them. Have given them phenomenal ratings. The Themis, the Connecticut, I absolutely love that cigar. I know you had a nice deal going on there at Famous for it. A real nice deal.
Always nice deals.
But
he's a friend of the shop too. He's in all the time.
Yeah. I think he lives a couple miles from you.
Yeah.
From the shop over there. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course the police love them. You know?
Oh yeah.
So that's a good market.
Listen, one day we'll be able to take that to a broader audience. I mean, protocol is, the cigars are phenomenal, but it doesn't have, you know, widespread distribution across the country.
Yeah, that's what Juan told me that about a year ago. We were talking about it. Yeah,
and hopefully they get out there and get it out there, because I think people will love it. And being the police, you know, a cop cigar, it's got that popularity in it. In the Northeast and up in your area, the cigar does fantastic, and they seem to do that. The latest one, the Sir Robert Peel.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that one because I thought that was terrific.
Incredible cigar.
I think that's been the best of the bunch, just for me personally. I love that. I think it was in the natural wrapper I really liked it.
Yeah.
And that cigar, I think they sold out like almost immediately too. We couldn't keep
absolutely.
Them in the store. Absolutely. Nikki from our store, she's like, can't keep them in the store. I mean, you know,
between what they sell and what they consume. You know, Juan likes to get high on his own supply. So, you know, they always got to order extra for themselves, because Juan goes through a lot of those cigars. But that's part of that social media. I mean, I don't think there's a night since COVID started that Juan hasn't been on some sort of herf. I mean, they're out there. They're out promoting. They're out connecting with consumers. They're you know, it's Juan's passion shines through, believe me.
Yeah, they are working it real nice. I'll tell you that. And they've done a great job. And so anyway, hopefully they'll get into more markets. I'm tasting it's very woody, the cigar, I'm finding, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a little, it's kind of sweet, which I like, and it's spicy. It's kind of like all the stuff I really like in a cigar. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's kind of woody.
You know,
it's
listen,
a little salty.
The cool thing about it, and the way things are rolled at La Zona, I mean, you get a lot of complexity in these cigars. You get a lot of transitions in them. You know, nobody wants a cigar that that the first inch is the same as the middle inch or the last inch. You know, you want to kind of have a little bit of complexity, a little transition, a little bit of flavor changes, and this certainly provides that. You know, it starts off with a good bang and then levels out, and you get that nuttiness, that woodsiness flavor coming through.
Yeah, and I tell you that the draw has just been great, and the I just did a little retro hail, and it wasn't like, it was peppery, but it wasn't like that stinging, harsh peppery. You know, it was kind of nice and smooth. But
Yeah.
I want to try to. Now I'm getting a little bit into the what I call the second act. I want to try some of this Dovetail Puerto Rican rum with it. That's aged in bourbon barrels.
There you go.
That's what it says, aged in bourbon barrels. See right there. So let's see. It's a little bit, but so you like beer, huh? What would you recommend? We got a lot of beer drinkers following us. What would you recommend with the Caixa?
You know, a little richer beer. I'm a big fan of Wicked Weed out of Asheville, North Carolina. That brewery, Wicked Weed, they put out some incredible seasonal beers, and they have one called Freak of Nature, which is a little bit on the heavier side, a little heavier than a Stella. You know, Stella to me is just a very good everyday beer, but this has got a little richness to it, and it pairs so well with cigars. I mean, that if you can get that Freak of Nature, that's a really good beer. Except again, it's very regional, so I can't find it here in Miami.
Yeah, a lot of beers are like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's give this a shot here. This.
I know that my friends up there, Justin Andrews, when he's come, you know, the Buffalo Trace. You walk into any store here, it's full of Buffalo Trace whiskey, and he freaks out because he can't find it anywhere up in Virginia or North Carolina. So he comes here, buys 10 bottles, and ships them back.
Well, I'll tell you, it goes pretty well with it. You know, it's not an overbearing rum. It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit sweet. It's aged 4 years in bourbon barrels, says here. And I'm finding it, pretty nice, really. It's I was going to have a maybe like a bourbon or a single malt with it, but I just said, well, let's try some rum, you know.
Yeah.
I tell you, I love that Flor de Caña. I want to get a bottle of that.
Yeah. So if you're able, they don't have it in the States, but Flor de Caña makes an after dinner drink.
Really?
A rum and coffee after dinner drink called espresso. If you're ever in Nicaragua, you can pick it up at duty free on the way out. They don't sell it here in the States yet, but that is, I busted one out. I had a bunch of friends over a couple weeks ago. We had a little bit of dinner, and then I busted out that Flor de Caña, and they all freaked out. They thought it was the most incredible after dinner. They drank my whole damn bottle.
Now, let me ask you about Nicaragua. We're talking about Nicaragua and the factory. Was the factory hit by the COVID at all?
You know, we don't have any cases that I know of at our factory. I know that this has been a rough couple of weeks over there. I know General just lost one of their employees. One of the guys that runs the STG factory, Hector, passed away on Monday. And Hector was a great guy, and my thoughts go out to his family. I mean, every time I was over there, he was a gracious host and really did a great job. I mean, he came along. You know, the STG factory was the old Toraño factory. Yeah. So when they took over in 2008, Hector came over from Honduras to run that factory, and we got the news on Monday that he had passed away from COVID.
I miss Charlie. How's he doing?
I talk to Charlie just about, if we don't talk, we text just about every day.
Yeah.
We're texting about hot topics, about everything. You know, we're on me, him, and Miguel Shodell from Crown Heads are on a three-way chat, and we spend the whole day communicating with each other, and I have an amazing relationship with Charlie. So
yeah, he's terrific. Please give me my regards, because
I will.
I miss him. And let's talk about the cigar a little bit. So you would call this a complex cigar?
Yeah. It doesn't transition or has the complexity that a full-bodied cigar would have. I mean, it's just not. but it just doesn't sit on that. You know, you could smoke a little bit of it and feel that it's on the lighter side of medium, and then you'll get that little pepper, you know, a little bit of pepper. So
Right.
first third, middle third, last third, you're going to get those transitions, which I love in any cigar.
Right. And it has rounded out nicely, and it's really locked in now. About the filler and binder, are they just kind of a mix of Nicaraguan, or are they more from
Nicaraguan? Yeah, different regions of Nicaragua. It's kind of funny because Erik prides himself as as not only a great maker of cigars, but a good chef at home. So this has been a different world for me, because at Toraño we just basically gave away the recipe to every cigar. Here it is. It's got this from this region, this from this region. Eric's not like that. You know, you get the wrapper and then you get the regions.
Yeah, you know, and I noticed reading about the 6 provincias or whatever. There's no blend information at all.
No.
You know, it's
No, he's
you
very close to the vest with those.
all right. Well, that's good. That's
I
good.
don't blame him. I don't blame him.
So who would you say this cigar is for? This Laranja Reserva line?
Who it's for?
Yeah,
You know, listen,
what level?
it's certainly not anything that a mild cigar smoker can't handle.
I agree.
And I don't think it's I don't think it's anything that would disappoint a full-bodied smoker. I mean, to me, it sits at, you know, like I told you, when that cigar came out, I was at the time working for Roberto Duran Cigars, and
Wow.
you would have thought I was working for Espinosa. You know, the way I was touting that cigar. I fell in love with that cigar from the beginning, and I.
Yeah.
You know, that year in December when the ratings were coming out, I was in close contact with Hector and everybody here, hoping, you know, that was going to hit top 5, because you know, I really thought it deserved it. And I just think it's a great balance. It's arguably the cigar that put Espinosa on the map. You know, with that, you know, you can go back to 601, but like I said, a lot of people at that time didn't know 601 was even Espinosa.
Yeah.
So when Laranja really hit with a 13, even though we felt it should have been higher, it really put us on the map. It really took off for us.
Yeah. Well, I know that I don't know what you guys have. I didn't really notice how you've done with Cigar Journal, but you know, their trophy awards are coming up. You ever had any experience with those guys?
I haven't. You know, I've voted in it.
Yeah.
I go on.
I voted for this.
You know, yeah. I voted.
I did.
But I haven't had much experience with Cigar Journal. Actually, one of the guys, Vince, that works for Cigar Journal, lives like 2 minutes from my house. So it always made it very easy to give them cigars, because I just drop them off at Vince's apartment.
So let's talk a little bit about what you do. You know, you do a lot of travel. Obviously, you go around to all the different stores, do the events and things. How has all this craziness affected that? I mean, I'm sure a lot of stores are closed. Some may not even open again. I don't know. I mean,
we you know, Erik. I think we were poised to have a really big year. I mean, we brought on board Richie Otero, Richie Riot, as he's known in the industry. He was working for PDR. Once his run with PDR ended, we brought him on board to handle some of our key accounts, and things were really in a groove heading into February. I mean, we just coming out of the TPE, we felt great. We were poised to have a real good year, and it just came to a screeching halt for us and for everybody. You know, so we've had to kind of reinvent things. And Erik, you know, Erik doesn't take compliments really well. But, you know, every once in a while I'll sit there and tell him, listen, dude, I got to thank you for all the effort you put in to keep us employed. I mean, you would have understood if he said, listen, I got to furlough you guys, or I got to do. But Erik hustled and put us in a position to move cigars and do things that went above and beyond. Even when we closed the offices for about a month, Erik and Junior were here every day.
You know, I was reading another thing about the company in which Erik had said that the 2 things that really he can attribute to the company's growth are these relationships that you have, not just with the store owners, but with the customers, and of course, social media has been a big shot in the arm for you guys. Tell me a little bit about your social media
Well,
practices.
the cool thing about coming to Espinosa was the following that this company has on social media is insane. And we do. Last year was year 4. I don't know if we're going to have one this year. It might be put off, but we do that La Zona Palooza, where
Yes.
we invite 200 of our most outspoken, if you would say, fans on social media. We kind of hashtag things Espinosa every day and La Zona Palooza, right. and we kind of look and see who's posting and who's really keeping the brand going on social media, and we invite them to like a 3-day party here. And
yeah, I know Nikki's been to it.
Yeah, Nikki was here last year.
Yeah,
it's been hugely successful, but I had never been with a company that had that kind of following. Social media was back in the Toraño days, it was just growing. It was a small piece of the pie. That piece of the pie has gotten way bigger, and truly the companies that are doing good really know how to market themselves on social media. Listen, it's free.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
it's a free avenue. So
it seems to be that a lot of the boutique companies, I guess would be considered a boutique.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I like that expression anymore either. But like Crown Heads does very well with social media.
Absolutely.
That's like their thing.
Miguel's one of my dearest friends, and
yeah,
and I love their cigars, and it's just we kind of it was cool to come to a company that had the amount of, like, you go do an event somewhere, and just based on the fans, you're going to have an incredible crowd at these events of Espinosa guys that are out there. And we have that Espinosa Elite program that has like 180 members, and we send them swag and we send them different things, and and so it's a cool aspect, and one that I had never experienced before.
Have you noticed?
I can imagine. It's a smaller version of probably the fever that runs on Drew Estate. The barn smokers, and Drew Estate has with the Drew Diplomat program is insane, and I think Espinosa Elite is up there. Not close to them, but we're building.
Have you noticed a major change or any significant change in terms of the age groups of people who are smoking cigars today? Or is it about the same?
I think the demographic, there is a lot of millennials that have taken, millennials have now hit they're around 30 years old now.
Okay.
And there is a younger demographic smoking out there, but I don't know if it's any different than it's been in the year. You always get that influx of the younger cigar smokers and the ones that appreciate that. And touching back on the social media aspect and the relationship aspect, I think we've talked about it a lot, and Erik and I have talked about it a lot. You got, what other industry do you know that you can walk into any humidor in the country and pick up somebody's cigar, anybody's, not only Espinosa, and sit there and enjoy that cigar and say, I really like this cigar. This is made by, Matt Booth, Jonathan Drew, whoever it's made by. You could reach out to them, and while you're still smoking that same cigar, there's a good chance they're going to answer you. What other industries like that? It's insane. Try to call, Bill Gates or
right.
tell him you love his software. Try to call anybody. But the cigar industry has that connection with consumers that is not seen anywhere.
It is. It's
I
really
can't
amazing.
tell you. On Sunday night at 8:00 at night, I'll get a text. Erik hands out a business card. I hand out a business card that has my cell phone number on it. And I get text messages. We met here and here and here. You might not remember me, but I'm smoking this Espinosa cigar and I am loving it. I hope to be able to enjoy a cigar with you again soon,
Yeah.
And lately it's stay safe.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I'm deep into Act 2 right now, and it is just fantastic. It is perfectly balanced. I'm still getting that nice woody notes, that little bit of sweetness, and I'm getting a little bit of kind of like I want to say like a tanginess, a fruity tanginess almost. It's just absolutely delightful. I think you guys, I really think this is like your premier. So in fact, I was thinking about this the other day, believe it or not, I really was. I was looking, I don't know, maybe I was looking in a magazine or what, but with Laranja came into my head somehow. And I said, this cigar is going to be around a long time. I think this will be a classic.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't think it's going away.
Mm. I know that I know if you know William Cooper, Cigar Coop.
Yes.
Coop just put out his top 25 most impactful cigars of the decade, and Laranja was number 10. So
wow, nice.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely the probably the flagship brand in our portfolio.
When you go into one of these stores, you're working with the salespeople, and the customers are there. What's usual typical conversation like? What do they want to know, or what do you I know obviously you want to impart how great the cigars are, but what do they want to know?
The funny thing is that all of us are very public on social media. People know my wife. People know a lot of the things I do and I enjoy, and Erik the same way, and so a lot of it is conversation. Dude, we just saw you went to Amsterdam, and tell us about Amsterdam, and and the conversations range from talking about the cigar we're smoking to I can't tell you how many people out there like, how's your wife? You guys look like you have such a great time and a great traveling out there, and these people never met my wife, but it's a lot of fun, and it's cool to see that a lot of people actually pay attention to what you post.
It really is great. Anyway, I had to take the other band off, but it's
yeah, I just did too.
Going great. It's going great.
I mean, this cigar burns so well. It is.
It's been a perfect burn, and the ash has been firm and just great. I mean, it's just like a nice gray and black kind of a color. There's certain cigars that I call a perfect cigar, and this is one of them. It's just
all I can tell you about this cigar is that they found it in the humidor. I don't know where it was, but I know it was properly humidified, but it was. They searched high and low to find me the last Caixa so I could smoke it on this show, and now I'm pissed off that it's the last Caixa.
Well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I think we still have some at famous-smoke.com, so
there
if you want them,
you got a coupon code
where to
for
find them. Let me ask you a question. You've been in the business a long time. What's been the biggest surprise for you in terms of the industry?
I would say the biggest surprise to me was the kind of how great all of us get along. I mean, listen, there's exceptions to every rule, but it's cool to travel into areas and see all the reps of that area from different companies getting along. The manufacturers, for the most part, talk and share stories and share. It's a very, very tight industry in that way. When we have big events, or whether it be the Big Smoke or any of these big events, Cigarnable, when you guys were doing it, part of the excitement of us doing it was not only having the shot at having 1,000 consumers in front of us, but it was getting together with all of us together in the industry. I know that you would see it on that Friday night at Cigarnable, the meet and greet. You would have all the manufacturers not only talking to the consumers there, they would talk to each other and really share stories and I think it while absolutely it's a competitive industry, we're all if the cigar industry is doing good as a whole, we're all happy, and there's a lot of camaraderie in this industry.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I got a very nice email today from Nestor Plasencia.
Yeah.
And because he's on the cover of we have a new magazine now called Primings. I don't know if you've seen it, but he was on the cover of the latest issue. And I asked him if he'd seen it. So he wrote me back, and he says, "Well, yes, we must get together soon and smoke cigars." And so kiddingly, half kiddingly, I guess, I wrote him back and I said, yes. I said, what's been going on in the streets these last few days. I said, when everybody sits down and has a cigar together, that's when there'll be peace on earth.
There'll be peace on earth, absolutely.
It doesn't matter what color you are or what this or that, or, You know, this is the great equalizer. You know, great equalizer. So anyhow,
You could talk yourself out of any ticket in the country if you and the officer would just sit and have a cigar during the stop.
no, I actually got out of a ticket because I had cigars on me.
I have too.
I did.
I have too.
I couldn't believe it. The guy came up to my car. He says, "You know, you're doing 50 and a 35."
Man.
I said, "Yeah, I know. I do this road every day. I just wasn't paying attention." Then he noticed there was some. He saw my. I don't know. He saw that I had something about cigars, a catalog or something in my car, and he said, "Oh, you're a cigar smoker." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." I said, "How about you?" He goes, "Oh, I love them. You know, I smoke them all the time. You know." And we got into the whole thing about cigars. He said, "I'll tell you what I'll do." He says, "I'm going to knock you down to a non-moving violation, and this way you won't get any points and anything. And I'll meet you at the courthouse, and you know everything will be cool." So I brought him some cigars. Yeah, it was so funny. So I had to pay a little fine, but at least I didn't get any points.
I'll tell you a funny story really quick
Yeah.
that has to do with a famous catalog.
Good, because we love funny stories on this show.
So my wife, me and my wife went to high school together. We knew each other in high school. I was dating one of her best friends in high school.
Isn't that how it always is?
Yeah, but we went our separate ways. And about 12 years ago at a high school reunion, we started talking. She was going through a divorce, and I had just separated from a girl that I've been living with for a few years, and we stayed in touch through Facebook. She was living in Charlotte. I'm living in Chicago, and she has this house here in Miami that she had purchased as a rental income property.
Okay.
And I live out in Kendall. So as our relationship progressed, and we both decided we're moving back to Miami, and I'm heading back into the cigar industry for the umpteenth time. We move into the house, and a week after living in the house, here comes a famous catalog, and I'm like, how the hell do I know I live here already? You know, this is bizarre. There's a famous catalog. So, you know, I just take it and throw it off to the side, throw it off to the side. I'd look through it a little bit, throw it off to the side. And this went on for about a year. Yeah. And one day, there's the famous catalog, but it's upside down with the name on it. And I said, my wife's name is Cecilia. And I said, Ceci, this magazine says Michael Salucci. And I said, and she says, yeah, that's the guy that was renting the house from me.
Oh my God.
And I said, do you know who Michael Salucci is? Now I live from 5 minutes from Drew Estate. And she says, no. And I said, that's like one of the main guys at Drew Estate. And she's like, oh my God, what a small world.
Oh
Salucci
my God.
So when I told Salucci that story, his son was born when he was living in that house. He says, Jack, I was in front of that house showing my son where we lived when he was born. Like 2 weeks ago. If I would have known you were there, I would have come in and showed him the house. I said, well, you're welcome
that's
to
great.
anytime.
But how are you doing with your cigar? Where are you at this point?
I'm at the final third. I mean, it's still beautiful, not smoking very hot. I don't want to put it down. It's so good. And let me tell you that I rarely smoke cigars this far.
Really?
So, well, you know, I do buy cigars, but I have the benefit that I don't have to pay for cigars.
Right.
So I really, you know, we put out, we started putting out Corona sizes of Habano and Laranja and Crema and those Corona sizes are what I travel with. I just love those little Coronas that I don't really have to waste, because when we're visiting shop after shop, I don't mind smoking in a car, and the reps don't mind us smoking in a car, but I don't enjoy a cigar in a car.
I don't either. It's just there's wind and there's
I don't really enjoy it. So I tend to like smoke when I'm with the retailer and with their consumers, and then put it out and go to the next shop, put it out. And if you're smoking anything bigger than a you know, if you're even a Robusto, you're wasting half the cigar every time.
It was like a petite Corona or a standard Corona?
Yeah, a little petite Corona.
Like a 4x38, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
the 542.
I had a cigar last night. It was a cigar that we're carrying now. I think it's called Puros Huerfanos or something like that. Huerfanos. I can't pronounce it right. PH, all right? And it was really delicious. And I didn't finish it. I smoked more than half of it, but you know, it was fine. I didn't really mind leaving it because, you know, I said, you know, I really I enjoyed it so much. You know, what's the difference? You know, I mean, it was a great experience. You know, I don't think it always. I mean, I would like to finish it. You know, but a lot of times cigars just get bitter in the end anyway. You know,
Yeah,
even the
absolutely.
good ones.
And I always discourage that guy that smokes a cigar after dinner, smokes half of it, and then the next night tries to smoke the other half of it after it's been sitting in an ashtray all night.
Yeah.
Like, don't
I know
do
some
that.
guys.
I can't even taste the difference. I said, believe me, you can. Don't do that.
I think cigars. I think cigar smokers are generally cheap by nature. Probably shouldn't say that, but I think there's some truth to that. Anyway, I'm getting.
Frugal would be a better word.
Yeah. Okay, they're frugal. But I really love this cigar, and now I'm just getting to that last third, and it's nice and it's still smooth, it's still woody, it's still sweet. Even the retrohale smoothed out.
Yeah.
You know? It's just a really great cigar. I can't say enough about it. I'll tell you the truth. So anyway, is there anything new coming out you'd like to talk about?
You know, like I mentioned earlier, the Se Provincia, it appears we're gonna the new one, the Las Villas, we're gonna push that back to the TPE. Our Warhead series, Warhead 6, will be coming out probably around the time the trade show would have been.
Okay.
We have a new blend that we are working on that I can't give away the name, but but we got that coming out, and possibly one other thing. You know, we're again. I'm surprised Hector's not here, but it's the one thing this has done to us is that we haven't had as many meetings as we should, because we're not all in the same room at the same time a lot of times, you know, and so we try to take advantage. I saw Junior walking around earlier when I looked out the window, but when Junior and Erik and Hector and myself and Richie are here, we try to, you know, take advantage of that and sit down and have, you know, 1 or 2 hour meeting and go over everything, whether we accomplish anything or not. At least we get to kind of talk about what the future holds. So, and some new upcoming releases. But this is throwing a monkey wrench in everybody's plans.
Yeah. Let me ask you one last thing. If there was a cigar that, you know, if someone said, "Look, I never had an Espinosa cigar. I don't know what, you know, I want to try one." Where would you have me start?
Laranja.
Really? Okay.
Laranja.
I would agree with that.
Laranja, like I said, Laranja is the cigar that will not be too offensive to the mild smoker, and it won't disappoint the full-bodied guy.
Absolutely.
It has that flavor to it. You know, Crema is one of my go-tos. I love Connecticut, so Crema is certainly one of my go-tos. And then, you know, Erik joked in the beginning when I came on board. He said, "Well, what do you like to smoke?" And I said, "You know, Connecticut's." And he said, "Well, you've come to the wrong company." But
the Connecticut's are popular now. They're hot again. I don't know.
You know, I remind him of that every time I see him walking around the office with a Connecticut. I'm like, I thought you didn't like Connecticut. You know, when you smoke
a nice cigar, though,
when you spend the whole day on the road traveling, I can't be smoking full-bodied cigars all day long. I'll drive myself crazy. So Connecticut's, I just became, my go-to cigar was a Connecticut, and there's many manufacturers that make Connecticut's that I love. You know, so
there's some real good ones out there. The thing is too, like I'll usually I really, how many cigars do you smoke a day?
I probably light around six cigars a day, and I probably don't get past half of them on any of it.
Interesting.
But you know, I have my standard in the morning. I'll have my coffee. I answer some emails. I sit in the backyard. My wife heads off to work at about 8 in the morning, and I sit there for about an hour catching up on emails and catching up on things, having my coffee and a cigar and a nice Connecticut. And then after dinner, those are my two staple cigars. The other day, the mosquitoes were real bad in the backyard, so they won that day, and I didn't have my after dinner cigar. And then here at the office, you know, try this blend, try that blend, try this. We're working on this, and so you kind of you go through a lot of cigars. But when I'm on the road, when I'm on the road, it's 6 to 8 cigars.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's like I'll have my morning cigar, you know, with my coffee, whatever. It's usually something a little like, you know, lighter, maybe more medium. And then in the afternoon, you know, we get, you know, most of the cigars that we'd be getting, you know, they're pretty hearty and mostly Nicaraguan stuff. And I'll have one in the afternoon. And sometimes when I'm done with that cigar, I'll be like, I just want to go to sleep. It just knocks me out. I don't know if it's my age or just, I don't know, maybe I don't know, but I just, and it's the same thing. Like they'll be bringing in Jim C will come in with, here, try these. And these just came in, and
yeah, Jim is a member. Jim is in Espinosa Elite.
Oh,
and
really? Well, I'll have to join.
He just got the box of Elites that we sent out, and it's a full-bodied cigar. And I tried one the other day, and then after lunch, and it knocked me out. I mean, it just, I was lightheaded after I smoked that cigar.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. So I don't know. But anyway, so I'm really like a 2 cigar a day guy most of the time, but I guess you can throw in a few of those little samples too. But,
yeah, on Saturday, I told my wife, what an odd, because we went up to see the launch of SpaceX.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're in Miami. Yeah.
We drove up to see SpaceX launch, and so we took her car, not my car, and I don't like smoking in her car. That's our one car I don't smoke in. My car is smoking. Right. So I didn't smoke on the way to Cape Canaveral, and then when I got there, I had a half of a cigar, and then the rocket was going off, and then I didn't smoke all the way home, and I had half of a cigar, and I told my wife, I said, man, I probably smoked a total of 2 cigars today, if that's a record in the last 2 or 3 years. The fewest cigars I've smoked. Now coming back from a trade show, we usually take a few days off where we won't smoke because it's just the palate needs a break there.
I think you're right. I've even written about that. I think it's good to give your palate a break. I think things taste a lot better. But can I ask you, was that the first launch you've ever seen? And what was the experience
I used to go. I was a regular at space shuttle launches.
Really? What's that like?
I used to photograph space shuttle launches, and we used to get these really cool press passes. I used to have a guy that ran a magazine, and me and my brother would go up there, and we were in the visitor center, the media center, as close as you could be to that shuttle going off, and that was life-changing. I mean, that thing, the Earth moved when the shuttle took off. So I probably did half a dozen shuttle launches. And then, so this one, we were about 8 miles away, is the closest we could get because Trump was there. So
he ruins everything. Yeah.
And then COVID closed a lot of the beaches that you could come within 5 miles of the launch. Yeah. They were only allowing annual passes. We didn't know that till we got there. So we had to settle in at this area that has bars and an open area overlooking the launch, and we were probably about 8 miles away. So it took about 20-30 seconds for the rumble of the rocket to get to us. But it was emotional. It was pretty. I'm always really moved by those launches, and to know there was a couple of a couple of Americans in there was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's really great, and it's too bad it got lost in the sauce with all the other nonsense that was going on that day. Anyway, Jack, this Caixa has been fantastic as I expected it, and it was great talking to you. And I hope Erik is feeling better. Sorry he couldn't make it today, but it was great having you. And remember, folks, that Espinosa cigars are available at famous-smoke.com. And while you're there, sign up for our emails and that free catalog. The catalog has some great deals in it. And for more cigar smoking advice and information, visit cigaradvisor.com and sign up for our email list. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And if you like this cigar, if you like this video, like us on YouTube. And please sign up for our notifications because you'll always want to know when we do another fantastic video. So anyway, Jack, thanks again for coming by.
Thank you, guys.
It's been a lot of fun. It's always good to see you.
It's always good to see you. Hopefully I'll be back there trying to convince the chef to make me some Papadu shooters soon.
I'll talk to him about it.
All right.
All right. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you next time on #NowSmoking. Happy smokes.